श्री योगी राम सूरत कुमार की जय। योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार। जय गुरु राया योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार। जय गुरु राया योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार। जय गुरु राया योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार। जय गुरु राया योगी राम सूरत कुमार, योगी राम सूरत कुमार। जय गुरु राया राम 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 Ramsuratkumar Jaya Guru Raya Rama 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 Ram Rama 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 Ram Rama 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 Ram Rama Rama Ram Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Rama 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 Bhagavan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanamastu. By the infinite grace of our Bhagavan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, that we have all been able to gather here on this special day of his Mahasamadhi by English calendar, the February 20th. We shall have to remember that but for his grace, we can do nothing at all. Bhagavan often said, to open your eyes and close, we need Father's grace. To move your little finger, it's Father's grace. To be able to talk is Father's grace. To be able to take one step is His grace. Everything in the world happens only by His will and by His grace. Now, to recall some of the incidents that took place a little before and after Mahasamadhi. I seek His grace, His own grace. Otherwise, it's not possible to talk about it. Way back in 1999 itself, Bhagavan, during the Deepam day, a very, very special day for entire Tiruvannamalai and the world, when the temple authorities would light a lamp on the peak of the mountain in memory of the column of fire that Lord Shiva stood as several thousand years back. Usually, every Deepam day, Bhagavan would go out, sit there on the dais, and there would be many foreign devotees from Europe and America, and the crowd of devotees and the public. The whole ashram would be full of them. And Bhagavan, we spent the Deepam time with Bhagavan. But in 1999, Bhagavan refused to get up from the chair. He sat there all through. And when I was announcing, it was 5:56, 57, 58. He just kept quiet, sometimes with a monosyllable, oh ho. He was not going to budge from his place. In the meantime, the local crowds and the devotees and the foreign devotees, they were peeping in to see if Bhagavan was coming out. They had come all the way just for this. But when I said it was 5:59 and 6, they had lighted the flame there on the peak. And there was this Annamalai Karohara. Everybody was shouting in great excitement and piety. When I said, Bhagwan, they have lighted there, up there, and people have started to move, to go round the mountain. He said, is it? All right, you and Vijayalakshmi can go round this beggar. So that was his way of indicating that he was the Deepam. Little did we know that that was his last Deepam, and that he was indicating that he would soon become one with the column of fire. That's Shiva. Even 3 years before that, he installed his own image here that you see now, which is the life of the ashram, and said, do not think that this is a statue. This is my father himself. And whoever comes into the ashram, whatever they pray for, standing before this murti, they will be helped in their prayer. Father will fulfill the prayer. Father would hear them. And then he said, even the expressions on the face would change. This is my Father himself, vibrantly alive. Now, one day, February 2000, on the 24th, he suddenly got up from his seat, walked all the way to the neem tree in front of Ved Pathshala. And then he sat there. And then he said, this would be this beggar's abode, be it small or big, comfortable or uncomfortable, this would be this beggar's abode. And began to give darshan there. And thereafter people would go round the ashram and come for his darshan there. That was the time the Ved Pathshala library was also being built by Shri Anjaneyulu under Bhagwan's command. Slowly, slowly, his health was declining. He was under the attack of cancer. Even days before, he shifted his darshan to Ved Pathshala front. He was suffering already very much. In fact, whenever he came to give darshan to Pradhan Mandir, he was staggering his way to the chair, feeling very weak. He told me that he had cancer, but I was not to reveal it to anybody because Father's work would come to a stop. And then he would sit there. There must have been great pain, and yet he would not show a single sign of his pain. Sat through the whole darshan, and it's only when he got up, I would see a pool of blood there, and I used to bring 2 extra dhotis with me, because he had warned me not to tell anybody. I would immediately put this dhoti upon that and roll up the whole thing and run after him. They say cancer with such a disease, where the pain would be like 1,000 snakes biting at a time. And imagine with all that, he was coming all the way, staggering his way to Pradhan Mandir, sat through the darshan, blessing people. And then, as I said, February 24th, he suddenly shifted his darshan to near the breakfast hut. And then it became very serious. At one time, he was unable to move at all. And all the devotees insisted upon allopathic treatment, the operation, with the faith that he would live longer in the body. He denied, he kept saying no. But finally he yielded to the strong entreaties from the devotees, which became more and more insistent. So he went to Dr. Rangabhashyam's hospital, had this operation done. He was 83. Just imagine the torture, the punishment that the body had to go through. After that, when he came back, the abode, the present abode was used. The room that you see there with the cot and the mattress. He never used a mattress in his life. Even in Sudama, he would refuse. He would say, allow this beggar to live the way he has always lived. And of course, we never wanted to interfere with his style of functioning. And now, because of his health, the doctors insisted on a mattress. He began to submit his body to his devotees. Do what you like with it. He kind of resigned to the whole procedure. And one day, in the night, when he was mourning, sometimes the pain would be too much, and there would be a little sound from him. At the time there was one devotee, Rajagopal from Anandashram, and I asked Bhagwan, can you not shift this disease to me? Thousands of devotees depend upon you. You are their very life. Please shift it to me. He opened his eyes and very firmly and sternly said, whatever Father's will is, Father's sankalpa only happens. And after that I could not open my mouth again. The way he looked so sternly, as though my very suggestion interfered with Father's work. And then, when people started to come, because he had come after the operation, so the doctors had to protect him from infection. So nobody was allowed inside, but the devotees would come to the window, and they were allowed to see from outside through the window. The intravenous was going on all the time. He always knew, even though he was lying down with his eyes closed, whenever devotees come, he would raise his hand automatically to bless them. But then that disturbed the medical arrangement, so his movements had to be restrained. And then there came a time whenever devotees came and stood near the window, he would raise his leg by way of blessing. And again that disturbed the other arrangements, so even that was restrained. Looking at him, going through the torture of the treatment, it struck me that every Mahatma has to go through some crucifixion or the other, because they take upon themselves the sins of all the devotees who come and prostrate at their feet. Since they have no mind, the mind has been destroyed, they are established in the highest truth, even as they deal with the relative world with such expertise. That the body still remained, it is matter, flesh and blood, just like our bodies. And the body had to pay for that, had to take that punishment. The sins of the devotees would eat up the body in some way or the other in the name of disease. And that was what was happening. At one point, when some important devotees came for his darshan, when I said, so-and-so has come, Bhagwan, for your darshan, what should I say to him? He said, who is that? It is myself. I have become all of you. I am the cosmic controller. I run the whole cosmos. I alone exist. There is nothing else, no one else. All those people going around the Murti, singing the name for the sake of this body, they're all me, my forms. I am in all, and all are in me. He began to declare, of course he already did, but very rarely. He would say, this beggar cannot speak this language to all the people. People would throw stones at this beggar. Because I asked him, why would you say this beggar, this beggar? You say this beggar doesn't exist, only Father does. He said, this beggar has to use the language that people understand. If this beggar says he is God himself, people would condemn him, throw stones at him. And it would create a lot of trouble to Father's work. So here, he kept declaring often that he is the Father in all, and all are in him. At one time, he said, when I asked him, why would he have to suffer from this terrible disease? He was doing only good to the whole world at the cost of his own health. He said, Father has given this suffering to this beggar for some cosmic balance. At another time, some time before, he said, we are the custodians of the divine plan, that we have come into this world to maintain a balance. This was the word he used. He also said, meeting people and blessing them is only a very small fraction of Father's work. Most of this beggar's work is hidden. Sitting near him just 1 foot away, watching him at his Father's work, I had glimpses of the way he worked. Much of it cannot be described, but the little I saw was enough. To know the truth of his whole being. So, at another time he said, Devaki, this beggar can do much better work without this body. Don't be upset. This beggar can do much better work without this body, and he is doing. Even now, we see how this ashram is filled with his power and grace and his vibrant presence. He has said, those who enter this ashram will not go back empty-handed. That Father's blessings are pouring on them like rain. Whether they are aware of it or not, it is the truth. This is Satsang, he would say, with emphasis. So we have his murti, whose expressions keep changing just as he promised, to show that he is vibrantly alive. And thousands of devotees who flock to this place feel his presence and grace. Not only that, Bhagavan also said he has left behind his powerful name as mantra. He said whenever and wherever people talk about this beggar, even two people, that place is my ashram. And then he said, wherever people chant this beggar's name, my Father will be present. Which of course we can feel when we sing his name, especially together, so many people. He comes out of the murti, keeps walking sometimes blessing people, sometimes he dances joyfully. When he doesn't come out, there are beams of light coming from his hand, touching everybody, irrespective of their chanting the name or not. By the virtue of their presence, they get so much of his blessing just by entering the ashram. I have to say one more thing. Just before he attained this Mahasamadhi, like old times, he called my name, Devaki. And when I went to him, I had a vision of Mother Mary holding the lifeless body of Christ. This I never talk about, except rarely. And a few minutes after that, he left the body. But he lives on as a vibrant presence here, and wherever his name is chanted, wherever people think about him and call him for help or guidance or protection, his form is now one of light and grace. This ashram has become a sanctuary of peace, love, and service to all the people who gather here. His teachings, which have come out of his mouth, which are what he had lived himself, or his uchishta. Uchishta is the leftover food that come out of the mouth of a great soul, of any divinity. Just as we take the food, the leftover food, as his Uchishta, the teachings that came out of his mouth, the words that came out of his mouth, are today's Uchishta. Even today they are available for those who care and take up for practice. So now let us learn to live with this vibrant presence which is very responsive to the call of his name. And we are getting his Uchishta teachings and the Leelas he left behind. He still continues. And it is up to us to make the best of it. We shall now offer our today's prayer. We shall gallop through it. We pray to you, Bhagavan, again and again, for your divine intervention to change the attitude of the whole world, which is now full of violence. There is so much enmity, misunderstanding, and violence. As cosmic controller, as you had often declared, please bring in peace, unity, order, discipline, and harmony into the lives of people so that people will live a dharmic life with remembrance of God. And we beg you to stop those violent wars that are going on already with the disastrous results. We beg you to bless the whole world so that there will be no thought of enmity or war in the minds of people. We also beg you to uproot all the rakshasic, asuric thoughts of violence, or the negativities of human mind which are responsible for the world as it is today. Whichever country people belong to, whichever language they speak, whichever religion they have embraced, everyone has to go through the law of karma, inevitably. And everyone gets trapped into some suffering or the other, that without help or protection. But then, above this is the costless grace of God. So let's appeal to His generosity and compassion, that His grace should reach out all those people all over the world who have fallen into some suffering or the other, to be free from that and be lifted to a higher plane. And we beg you again, Bhagavan, to protect all those unselfish people who have been already doing, slogging for the welfare of the others from unhealthy, unworthy criticisms and aspirations. And we beg you to promote the economy of the country and the country's growth in varied fields of activity so that India would reach that high status of world teacher to conduct the whole world in the path of Dharma. We also seek your powerful blessings for ceaseless and joyful chanting of your name and unbroken remembrance of your Leelas and teachings so that we turn it into Atma Shakti. Please bless us all to be only sattvic instruments in your hands and our everyday life so that we run it as an offering to you and not be caught by the temptations of Maya. We seek that ultimate state of being, the state of bliss and peace, the state of pure awareness, but then our minds are clouded by the latent tendencies of our past karmas and worldly desires. So the mind gets trapped by a spectrum of emotions like wishes, fear, anger, jealousy, vengeance, passion and sorrow, to land in depression and medicine. You have declared thunderously that the name of God is a very powerful weapon against our past sins and will prevent us from further sins, will purify our heart even by uprooting the vasanas, the latent tendencies of the mind. We seek your powerful blessings for early purification. And we also beg you to bless us so that we do all our actions as an offering to you in the service, in the spirit of service, and that joyfully, without any unhealthy competition or jealousy, so that every action of ours will turn into Atma Shakti wherever we live in this world. And please bless us to practice acceptance of whatever life brings to us, be it a joy or sorrow. Coming from you can only be a great blessing meant for our spiritual transformation. Let us not look upon it as a punishment from God, for He puts a blessing also in it. Otherwise, we will turn very bitter in life, resent God and His grace, move away from Him, and blame others also bitterly for our own failures, creating more and more karmas and births. We beg you, Bhagavan, to bless us all with gratitude and seek your powerful blessings for all the species of the cosmos. And finally, we seek liberation from the vicious cycle of births and deaths. The ahambhav, the identification with the body, the utter selfishness of the ego I. Please uproot this and promote Atma Bhavam so that we all be blessed with that immortal life, that eternal living, in merger with you, or eternal servitude in surrender to you, that eternal, supreme Brahman. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.